Hey guys, I'm Dave. Quick show of hands. Who is running Facebook ads right now? Okay, a good bit of you. And keep your hand up, keep your hand up. And then of you, how many are making money with them? Not as many. Okay. So that's what this talk is basically about, is kind of what I learned the hard way through, I've probably had 4 or 5 different SaaS businesses I've been involved in. So I've run a lot of ads, tried a lot of things, and failed at many of them. But this is what I put together over a long period of time that helped me kind of get over the hump as far as making my ads profitable. Okay, so I want to talk about this first of all. So those of you who didn't raise your hands, it probably means you don't have a Facebook pixel on your site. So if you don't, I'm going to tell you to do that right now. And I really think that's important. I'll explain why later, but just doing this it's like adding leads to your mailing list just by doing nothing. So just do that. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't slow your site down. If you're not doing it, do it now. Okay, so this is what I usually hear from people when I ask them. I talked to a few people yesterday and, oh yeah, I tried Facebook ads and I spent a bunch of money and nothing happened. I didn't convert anything. So that's the same experience I had. And I think the big thing is the first time you do it, you don't really know what you're doing. And even if you do, it takes some time and it takes some iteration to get it right. So it's not an immediate thing. So the big question we're going to answer today is, can Facebook ads work for my business? And so the way I answer that is basically, for most of you, yeah, it probably can if you do it the right way. So first, is your market reachable? Now, Facebook has about 1.8 billion users daily on average. Chances are your market's in there somewhere. So unless you have a very small market, maybe you have 3,000 people, total addressable market, okay, they might not be in Facebook and you might not be able to get to them. But if you have, 50,000, 100,000 people, they're in there. It's possible to get to them. The second point is, can you charge enough to actually make these ads profitable? And again, that's more of a, if your product is $9, it's going to be tough through a Facebook ads. I'm not going to kid you about that. But for most people, with let's say you have a $50 price point or an average value, that's enough. You can kind of get there without too much trouble. And finally, if you apply what I'm going to explain to you is the MAP formula, which is my fancy acronym for something really stupid, and you iterate on that, you can actually get there over time by testing your way through. Okay, so you ready for the big reveal on what the MAP formula is? Ooh, right? Okay, there's more. Okay, so this is the simple formula. It's basically simple math, and what it basically refers to your average order value. I'll get into that. And that being more than twice what your cost per acquisition is. So let's break that down a little bit. Okay, average order value. So how much do you make on your initial customer sale? And there's a reason I'm talking about this and not, you'll often hear people talk about customer lifetime value. I'm explicitly not talking about that yet. So your initial customer sale, so what's that look like for you? Someone comes to your site, maybe they start a trial, at some point they convert. If you have a $15 entry point for your trial, your initial customer sale is $15. So for most of you, here's sort of an example. If you have multiple plans, you need to do a little bit of third grade math to figure this out, but it's basically you see what plans you have, what percentage of people are on each of your plans. And for this hypothetical example of a SaaS with $20, $50, and $100 price points, and with 50% on plan A, 30 on plan B, 20 on plan C, you wind up right around $45 as your average order value. All right, second piece of this is your cost per acquisition. So how much do you spend to get each customer? And in this case, we're going to talk about how much you spend specifically through Facebook ads, not through other means. And so let's break that down a little bit. Your components are basically how much does it cost you for each click you're getting? What kind of conversion rates do you have on your landing page? And this is initially for sign up. And then later in your funnel, what kind of conversion rate do you have from trial to paid? Again, so back to our example, let's say you start out with Facebook ads, like I did, certainly. You have a pretty high cost per click, something around $2. And let's say your trial sign-up rate is something around 10%. And finally, of those trials, you convert them at about a 20% clip. Okay, so is that going to work for Facebook ads? So here you can see in this case, it takes you about 10 clicks to get a trial sign up, about 50 clicks to get every conversion, and you're paying $2 a click. So you're looking at about $100 for your cost per acquisition. And the question is, am I going to be profitable there? Well, you know the answer already. Not really. We already know your average order value is around $45. So you're going to pay about $100 to get $45. Not really a good deal there. So how do we do better? This is what I mentioned before. So again, you go back to yes, I know I sold a $15 subscription, but that person's going to stay for 9 months. It's going to be great. And my question is, how do you know that? This person's coming from Facebook ads. If you haven't done it before, do you know they're going to be just like your other customers? Not really. So you want to be a little careful here and give yourself some margin. You can certainly test and experiment with this. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying if you're really just trying to test whether Facebook ads is a viable thing, let's leave the whole lifetime value thing for a little bit later. Okay, so we tried our first experiment. It didn't work out. How can we start to optimize this and do better? So here's three things to consider. First, can I get lower clicks? So that's the whole category of optimizing your ads. Second, can I get better conversion rates? You guys probably know a lot about that. So how do I optimize my funnel? And then finally, you can just somehow get a higher average order value. Certainly, you could raise your prices or do something like that. All right, so let's look at the sort of starting point here. What can you actually afford to pay per click? So that's really a good starting point for Facebook ads, so you actually know what your numbers are before you start running the ads. So here in our example here, if my cost per acquisition is $45, my average order value is $45, you just run my map formula backwards, and here we wind up with a cost per click of about 45 cents. That's what I can target and actually get profitable sales there. All right, so let's talk about optimizing your ads. That's the second part of this. So I have lower clicks, and now how do I optimize my ads? So for Facebook, I'm going to give you a few simple rules. I'm going to say use newsfeed ads, which can be either mobile or desktop. Don't use the other kind, at least for now. Make sure your audience is big enough when you're targeting. So I'd say at least 50K to start with. And Facebook has this concept of campaign goals. You can ask for page likes, you can ask for all sorts of things, but Facebook is actually really good at this. So if you ask for page likes, you'll get page likes. You won't get clicks to your website, you won't get conversions, you'll get page likes. So the goal to pick is actually website conversions. And that's really what you want, because you want people to go to your website, you want them to sign up for trials. So that's really what you want to focus on. Okay, so to optimize your ads, you've got sort of 4 interesting factors. So we talked about targeting a little bit. That's really how you choose your audience. I'll drill down into that a little bit. And then there's your offer itself. What is your ad saying? What are you trying to get people to do? And on Facebook, certain kinds of offers work better. People are looking at pictures of cats and babies, so when you put your offer in there, it can't be buy my thing, right? So it's how do you put your offer in there in a way that they'll actually get them to look up from a cat picture and take action. Click-through rate will help with your cost per click, and you can really influence that by picking good images. So you really want to test images, and that's the biggest impact on click-through rate actually in Facebook. And certainly headlines are a factor too. And finally, they have an idea of relevance score in Facebook, and that's Facebook's internal magic calculation that says whether or not they should show your ads, because what you do, you target a certain audience, and they click your ads or they don't, and they also can give feedback on your ads. So if you have bad feedback, you have a bad relevance score. So you want to work on that. Okay, so targeting really quick. You can go for more specific audiences. You can target different interests in Facebook, and the more specific you get, usually that helps your click-through rate and your conversion. You can also target anyone who's visited your site, and that's what that pixel I told you about before was for. Anyone who's visited your site before, in Facebook, you can later target specific ads to them. And you can also, they have an idea of lookalike audiences where if you have people who have already converted, you can take that group and Facebook will find others like them. I'm going to skip over this, but your simple process, basically, I'm going to jump straight to optimizing your funnel. So once you've got your ad set up, you've got a good offer, and a call to action, really the offers you want to start looking at on Facebook that work, look at doing things like free or gated content. And Russ touched on that a little bit before. That's what a free content would look like, driving traffic to a relevant, high-value article, and then retargeting those people. Gated content, you know about. So that would be using something like a lead magnet, a cheat sheet, a template, a checklist, or running some sort of contest. So you get the email address, and then you can follow up with them by email. Then the other, your free trial, it should be pretty much the last thing you offer. And I would mainly say focus on using retargeting for free trial offers versus having that be your top of funnel offer. So again, it's a little bit too sudden. There's no trust yet in the relationship. So if you just go straight for the free trial, it's a little harder to get people to take action on Facebook. This is just some quick examples from Drip and Infusionsoft of what some gated content offers look like. And basically they're saying, we've got a free video course if you sign up for our trial now. And the landing page for that. Okay, so assuming you do all of those things, this is just our example again. Let's assume we improved our cost per click. We got it down to $1. We got our conversion rates a little bit improved. And so now you're back in the sweet spot. And that's kind of what it takes, iterating over these different aspects to try to get to the sweet spot. But it starts with knowing your numbers. If you're fully optimized already and things are looking good, I talked before, you could add an enterprise plan, raise your prices, do other things. That would also increase your lifetime value. And finally, really focus on conversion. And the way I like to think of it, and this was true in my business, if you get all of these trials, but 9 out of 10 of them don't actually convert to paid customers, it's a huge opportunity to just grab just one more of those, and that really would double the effectiveness of what you're doing. So that's a good place to focus. Okay, wrapping up. I actually made a calculator for you guys if you want to run some of these numbers without doing all the math. At usermentor.com, Facebook ads. And if you got any questions, let me know. That's my info there. Thanks for sticking around for the talk.